It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. We're gonna have fun because we are talking about metric measurements today. Now, yesterday we talked about customary measurements, which is what we in the U.S. use. But pretty much everywhere else, and even in the U.S. in science and other certain things, we use the metric system, okay? So the metric system is actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So when you think of the customary measurements, you have to remember like the specific numbers. So you have like inches to feet. There's 12 inches in a foot. There's 5,280. Let me double check that. Yeah, 5,280 feet in a mile. Like random numbers like that. The way that the metric system works is that it goes by powers of 10. So you have 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, things like that. We're just going to deal with the first three. So 10, 100, and 1,000 today. That's really all you're going to have to deal with on a normal day-to-day basis. All right. Again, sometimes in science you'll get more in depth, but they'll talk about that in science more in depth when you need to. So I'm going to show you this handy dandy chart. It also is a less pretty looking version of the one on your quiz on Thursday, so please pay attention. You'll notice that I didn't give you a conversion chart for it, and that's because it just goes by powers of 10. There's nothing really to remember besides the order of the prefixes. That's about it. But there's no specific numbers to memorize. It just goes 10, 100, and 1,000. Okay? So here's my handy dandy chart. Again, not as pretty as the one that you'll see on Thursday because I'm not as cool as a computer. Anyway, we have our base unit. So that could be meters, liters, grams. What else? Those three are the most common three. But we have our base unit. So if I have 1 meter, if I have 1 liter, you guys have heard of 2-liter bottles of soda. 5 grams, you guys may have heard milligrams in medicine and things like that. And so that's our base unit, just the meter, liter, and gram, not any of the milli or whatever, okay? Now, this is getting bigger. Deca, hecto, and kilo are getting bigger. And then you have the deci, centi, and milli, all right? So, if I want to go to a smaller unit, let's use meters, okay? If I have a meter, if I go here, I'm going to multiply by 10. So remember, from yesterday, when we go from larger to smaller, we're going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply it by 10. So if I had a meter and I wanted it to go to decimeter, I would multiply it by 10. So you have 10 decimeters. I'll show you that on the ruler. There's my side of centimeters. So these are your centimeters, right? Doop, 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 doop. If I had a meter stick, all 10 of these, that's a decimeter. And we'll get to that in a second. You'll see what I mean in a second. But decimeter is 1/10 of a meter. Now, moving even further forward, if I want centimeters, I multiply that by 10. So I have 10 decimeters. I multiply that by 10, and I get 100 centimeters. Okay? So you see how this is 10 times this is 10 times this. So how many milliliters do you think we'll have for 1 meter? How many milliliters? Millimeters. It's going to be 1,000. 1, 0, 0, 0. Millimeters. I'm also showing you the abbreviation because the abbreviation is what is on your quiz. I didn't write it completely out, so sorry. So you can see that as you move backwards, it goes down by times 10. You divide by 10. So 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. 100 divided by 10 is 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. And we get back to our base unit. Now, if I want to go from smaller to larger, remember, we're going to divide. So if I have a base unit of meters and I wanted to go to a decameter, I'm pretty much Also, the way you can do this is moving your decimal. So I'll show you that in a second. So pretty much this would be 0.1 or 1 over 10. If I multiply that by 10, so we're only multiplying the bottom by 10, what would that be for the hectometer? It would be 0.01 or 1 over 100. And then for kilometer, you guys may remember this because we've gone over it a couple times in our daily math, but it would be 1,000. So we have 0.001 or 1 over 1,000. But see how my decimal just keeps moving? So if I have 1 liter, right? If I'm going, this is an easy way to do it actually. You just have to remember what order the prefixes are in. But if I have 1 and I wanted to go to milliliters, I know that I have to multiply, so I have to move my decimal to the right to make the number bigger, add more zeros, right? And then I know that it's 3 away. So my decimal is here. I go 1, 2, 3, fill in the zeros. Do you guys remember when we did that with exponents? Kind of towards the beginning of the year, but do you remember that? So we have 1,000. Now, if I had 1 liter, and I said, I want a hectometer, and I know that it's 2 away, but it's going smaller, so I would go 1, 2.01. Fair enough? All right, we're just gonna go over, I'll explain 1, 2, and 3 in a second. We're gonna look at number 4 and 6 together, okay? So we have 45 grams equals how many milligrams? And then we have 4.5 meters equals how many millimeters? So number 1, 2, and 3, it's just saying do your best, name the appropriate unit. So let me just go ahead and give those to you for sake of simplicity. So what it means is just the unit itself. It's not asking for like, oh, 1,000 milliliters or whatever. It's just asking for the unit itself. So would it be better in kilograms? Would it be better in meters? That kind of thing. All right, so do your best with that one. That's what it meant. All right, so number 1, 45 grams to how many milligrams? So if I look at my handy dandy chart that you can rewind this video to watch, or you can look up at the chart above and see if that's helpful. We know that from grams to milligrams, I am getting smaller, so I'm going to multiply. What am I going to multiply it by? I'm going to multiply it by 1,000 because I know that it goes decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. So it's 10, 100, 1,000. You can also just move your decimal 3 places, but either way, you're going to get the same answer. So if I have 45 and I want to multiply it by let's fix our placement there. So if I know I have 1,000 milligrams per gram, and then I have 45 grams, we're going to multiply that. I'm not going to go through all of that with you because we're already running pretty long, and I'm sure you're bored of hearing me by now. So we're going to go to 45,000. On the next one, I will just show you moving the decimal. So we have 4.5 meters to millimeters. Again, same movement of the measurement. So you have your base unit, milli. Base unit, milli. Okay? So we're actually just going to move the decimal. And remember what I said earlier? It's the third one away from the base unit. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. And because it's 4.5, not 45, but 4.5, it's going to be 1 less. So we're going to have 4,500 milliliters. Okay? If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, have a great night.